Okay, thank you. Yeah, my name is Michael Karus, and I'm founder of Nova Institute and executive manager of the Renewable Carbon Initiative. And I'm happy to present you today the concept of renewable carbon, but especially Renewable Carbon Initiative, who we are, what we're doing, with successes we had already, and also to motivate you to become member and support our mission. If you have in between any questions, there's a question in the chat already. Yeah, okay, thank you. If you have any questions in between, you can speak up, or you can just put your note in the chat. I have a look to the chat, and I will immediately react to your chat comment or question. I would like to have it today a little bit interactive, as much as possible, or as much as you want. And you have already seen, you can unmute yourself and ask also questions. You can raise your hand before. So many ways of interaction. So let's start with the first slide. The Renewable Carbon Initiative was founded in September 2020. It was still a time with COVID. Oh, hello, I can't hear anything. So that's surprising. I see my mic working.
Oh, now it works. Sorry.
Okay.
Everything fine.
Okay. Yeah, great. Thank you. For those who have problems, you have on the bottom left, you can choose your mic and also your loudspeaker. Yeah, in 2020 it was still Corona time. We founded Renewable Carbon Initiative with these members here. It was interesting that Corona was really supporting us in the foundation, because normally all the companies had expected that I would visit them to convince them to join or to start the whole movement. But this would have taken a lot of time and budget. But here it was possible to reach everybody online because meetings was not possible those days. And so it would very effectively possible to meet a lot of companies and high-level people in the companies to discuss Renewable Carbon Initiative. And then finally, Bayersdorf, Cosunbiet, Covestro, Henkel, Neste, Lenzing, Lanzatec, SHV Energy, Star, Unilever, and UPM was creating the Renewable Carbon Initiative. And we had before about 150 personal supporters supported the whole initiative. And so we could start in September. And most of these companies are still on board. Some disappeared because they changed their whole business, or they was only there to look what happened in the chemical sector. Some was bought by other companies, so it was a lot of dynamic development, but most of them still are active in RCI. First, about the vision we shared. 70% from greenhouse gas emissions come from additional fossil carbon from the ground. So we only look to the emissions, but we look to the origin of the emissions, and these are additional fossil carbon from the ground. To combat climate change, we need to reduce the consumption of fossil resources. In the recent crisis or the Iran war, we see even more reasons for that. So in those days, the discussion on resilience and strategic autonomy was not there. Today, we would have this as additional reasons to switch from fossil to other resources. For the energy sector, there is this well-known strategy of decarbonization to switch from fossil to renewables like solar, wind, geothermal, hydro, and batteries and hydrogen. This is a good strategy, and this is another presentation where we see that this is very successful. Last year was the first year ever where solar and wind worldwide are stronger in electricity production than coal. And this year they are 5% higher than coal. But for the chemical sector, it's difficult because the organic chemistry is based on carbon. And so we created the term defossilization. It can be done with switching to other carbon sources, especially biomass, CO2, and recycling. We call this three together renewable carbon. You can see this also in the logo on the left-hand side to unifying biomass, CO2, and recycling. And before, this three was in different silos. Sometimes it was fighting each other. And we say, let's work together. We have one enemy, this is fossil carbon. And together with biomass, CO2, recycling, we can replace fossil carbon in our dairy products, and we call this defossilization. And then we had also this definition here, renewable carbon entails all carbon sources that avoid or substitute the use of any additional fossil carbon from the geosphere or from the ground. Renewable carbon can come from the atmosphere, biosphere, or technosphere, but not from the geosphere. Renewable carbon circulates between biosphere, atmosphere, and technosphere, creating a carbon circular economy. On the right-hand side, you see a very simple vision of the concept. This was necessary for policymakers in the beginning, that we have this good carbon from above the ground, and we have the carbon we should avoid, carbon from below the ground. So this concept was very new in 2020. Meanwhile, it's more or less standard. And you will see later that we have still some work ahead. For example, SBTi and greenhouse gas protocol are not covering embedded carbon, not covering defossilization so far. And we are working with them, RCI, with SBTi and greenhouse gas protocol, to also to cover this embedded carbon in the molecules. So the aim in the foundation was support and speed up the transition from fossil carbon to renewable carbon, to address this core problem of climate change, fossil carbon from the ground. Companies are encouraged to focus on phasing out fossil resources to use renewable carbon instead, and creating finally climate neutral circular economy. And this picture was also in the first years very often used to show what is the target of the whole initiative. On the left-hand side, you see the picture for the energy sector. This is decarbonization. On the right-hand side, there are only a few. In the future, in 10, 20 years, we have still some carbon-containing fuels in airplanes, for example, but in most other applications, we see a strong development worldwide to phase out, even speeding up after the Iran war. On the right-hand side, you see the picture for the chemical sector and material sector. So we have here, we need carbon. We have three options to use carbon. This is CO2 from point sources or from direct air capture. But point sources are much cheaper and easier to use than all kind of biomass. And recycling, also it comes originally from fossil. It's avoiding to use additional fossil from the ground. So recycling is here also a very important part of the story. And then we can keep on producing most of our products today. Some are different, some are less toxic, some are perhaps also a little bit more expensive, but we can still use our wide range of organic materials, and only a few fuels going still to the left-hand side, like kerosene. There we have at the moment no real option to replace it. This is a famous scenario we developed a little later. This is 23 here now. This is going around the world, and we have checked this with other scenarios, so it's in line with a lot of other net zero strategies. And many of you have heard about scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emissions. And if you want to go to scope 3 emissions to cover them too, you have to change the carbon source. And I don't know, I have a picture today with me, but in big chemical companies and also consumer products companies, the scope 3 footprint is about 80 to 90% of the full footprint. So 1 and 2 are relatively easy to handle, but 3 means really a transition to other carbon sources. And this is shown here. We have in a big study, we have calculated how in 2020 the feedstock for chemical industry was worldwide. Chemicals and derived materials. Derived materials are 60% polymers and plastics, and then a lot of other solvents, lubricants, body care, a lot of other things too. Here you see on the left-hand side, it's 88% fossil, 4% recycling, bio-based 8%, and a very small part from CO2. We are just doing a new project in RCI to updating this picture, and you will see in September, October, we will make some new workshops with a new report, a lot of details about the carbon flows globally. Then we have this increase of carbon demand for embedded carbon. We're talking here always about embedded carbon, the carbon in the molecules, not the process energy carbon. And here we, in line with many other reports, we think it will be almost double from 2020 to 2050, with the compounded annual growth rate of 2.5. In the past, the growth was faster, about 3 to 4%. So already we assume here that the growth will be a little bit lower in the future. Then you see on the right-hand side how this could be covered: 55% by recycling, 20% by bio-based, and 25% by CO2. And we have meanwhile done with RCI budget also nice reports on the bio-based share. Is it realistic that bio-based, without compromising food, feed, energy, and fuels, is able to provide this 20%? And we could show that 20 to 30% is possible if we go to a high-tech agriculture, the moderate high-tech agriculture system, which will very probably happen anyway. The recycling, 55%, is a challenge. Only for plastics you can reach it, but you have also solvents and detergents. So in the new version, we will a little bit reduce this. And CO2, we showed in another report that in principle, if you have enough renewable energy and hydrogen, green hydrogen, you can also cover 100% of the demand if you want. So this filling the gap between recycling and bio-based is a very realistic option. Meanwhile, we have in China 3 commercial factories under construction producing polymers from CO2. So this is coming soon in the future. Today it's a very small share. So this is about the concept. I would be happy to get some comments or questions from your side. You can unmute yourself. You can go to the chat, because now I would come how RCI is trying to bring this vision to reality. But if you have so far some comments on the vision, you say it's completely nonsense or the great vision, I'm open for any kind of feedback. Or everything is so clear. But what I want to add here, the defossilization renewable carbon concept, we did in Nova first time 2014, in RCI 2020. And meanwhile, it's really going worldwide. The policymakers using this term, companies using this term. So it was really, and for many chemical experts, it was really wonderful that they could talk about defossilization and not anymore decarbonization, because they're always, as a chemist, you know, it's not possible. It's not what it's really not meant, what the term is saying. And so this, to have this additional concept was very well accepted worldwide. Okay, no comment, no question, and I will continue. How to achieve RCI vision? We have a multi-pronged strategy. Very important is the first one, research and knowledge sharing. Provide scientific background reports, position papers. I will show some examples in a minute to support policy making, industrial decision making. This is very unique. Almost all other association or interest groups don't use a budget for scientific background reports. Normally they use it for lobbying. And this is one specialty and some strengths from RCI, that we could provide meanwhile about 15 scientific background reports which have already high impact on industry and policy. And I will also tell you later how we come to the topics and how it works in detail. I'll show you, and that you see as a member you have a strong impact, not only from the budget, but also on the content of this background reports. Policy, science-based, or you have an N missing, science-based advocacy. We have a very good contact created to different DGs in Brussels. DG Environment, DG Grow, DG Klima, DG Agri, DG RTD, DG Energy, DG Move. And we are not seen as, I say, primitive lobbyists, but we are more seen as really science-based advocacy. So they like to see our inputs, they like to see our positions, because they know they are really based on science and not on just keeping one sector ahead. The reason is also RCI has so many sectors that we can't make single lobbying because we're representing so many different sectors and carbon streams. Building a collaborative network, connecting the entire value chain to share expertise, collaborate on projects, advance renewable carbon technologies. This is also working very well. We have so see later, we have in RCI, next to the big suppliers and brands, SMEs, we have startups, and we see that they are networking a lot in between. And we saw also that meanwhile, I think 4 startups was bought by bigger RCI members, and they are happy about it. So that really this networking and cooperation is really working well. Then raise awareness. So we do a lot also in social media and press releases to make this concept visible. And RCI is not a lobby association, it's a mission-driven interest group, a think tank. Your active involvement in working group policy advisory board is very welcome. And we show in the next pictures how this works in detail in this picture here. Here we have just collected what are the benefits of the members advocating for renewable carbon. As a member, you actively contribute to shaping the future of policy and drive the transition. We have already some examples where we can really positive influence commission documents. That's very nice to see this. Contribute to leading scientific reports and positions. So when NOVA and other scientists working for RCI, then the RCI members are in project advisory boards and they can guide the project and give their input, connect with the network, get access to all the internal documents. So if you become member, you have direct access to a lot of internal documents, which can be very useful for the company, shape the future. So members are actively involved in shaping position papers, positions, what are the topics in the next years. We have for this working groups. I show the next slide. One working group is very active. Increase your visibility. RCI members are known as Green Transition Innovation, so are shown in this network. And we get also some discounts that you can join conferences and workshops from NOVA through a lower price. Here is the structure. I think this is really unique, so it's really important to take a short look to it and to see where you can become active here. The members, every member company identifies 2 or 3 main representatives. They are involved in all activities. We have one time a year a general assembly in Cologne, where all members meet. Normally about 70, 80 members meeting there. It's a very active networking event. And here we are identifying the priorities for next year. So every company can send proposals on which topic we should work next year. Often these are topics where the company is saying, okay, we need this information, but we can't get budget in our company for that. Can we do it together in RCI? And if several companies have the same topic, then it becomes a real project for next year. So we're receiving normally about 20 proposals that are discussed at the General Assembly, and then the members voting for the topics of next year. We have also a board with meanwhile, I think 13 members. And there are, of course, the decision of strategic direction, budget allocation. They meet each month at a meeting because someone has to decide things, and we cannot. And also, what go to public is decided in the board. Yeah, and then we will see the partners. We have a lot of partners. I'll show you later. Also, very nice, well-known partners. On the left-hand side, we have the office, Nova Institute, do the office and the main scientific work. And on the bottom, you'll see the working groups. The most active one are working group policy and working group sustainability. So every member can join here. Working group policy meets also one time a month. Normally 20, 30 companies meeting there. And you get there the latest information from Brussels policy. This is extremely useful because many smaller companies cannot follow up what's happening in Brussels, especially at the moment. There are so many decisions. I saw later what's about. Also, biomass quota is under discussion and those things. So it's really extremely important for companies to stay here on the latest information level. And you can discuss with other companies about topics and positions here. And we bring it then to Brussels. In the week after next week, we have again 3 days Brussels. Christoph and I will be from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday meeting a lot of DGs, and then we bring the positions and the interest of the members to Brussels and discuss it with the different DGs. The work of sustainability works at the moment on SBTi and gas protocol. This is also many brands are here in this sustainability working group. So these are the two very active working groups. Labeling did a special label, okay, renewable. This is now closed, and working group recycling is a little bit pausing at the moment, but it can be active as soon as members want to have more discussions here. Yeah, and I will not go to all the details here, but important here is it's your decision how much time you spend in RCI, from light engagement to medium to deep engagement. Everything is possible, your decision. And the highest involvement, of course, is be the board member. Everybody can become board member. So we have this is also a very unique concept. Everybody who want to be actively involved in the board is welcome. Yeah, and we have only 13 companies who want to be involved, but that is enough. So 30 is a great number. And if a new member will say, I want to work on board level, then it's just a decision by existing board members to get a majority. And this so far always worked. So some companies stepped out, too much work, others stepped in. So it's a dynamic changing in board. But we think it's the best idea. Active members should decide on board level. Then we have webinars, internal roundtables, working groups, and so many ways to be very active. And the lowest engagement is just stay informed, receiving the newsletters, supporting RCI with budget. But you are choosing about this different involvement. And what also is important to say, you have these 2 or 3 main representatives, but on certain topics in projects or also in the working groups, you can also send other experts from your company in the meetings. And here, one example how the big projects, how this is working. It looks a little bit complicated, but in fact, it's not so complicated. The first thing is how new ideas and proposals are created. This comes mainly from the General Assembly. They will be discussed there, presented, discussed, and voted, and then we have a ranking. And then the top 4 are normally, there's enough budget for the top 4. Then we also creating a project advisory board, PHB, where all members are asked, do you want to join this advisory board? Because we had a topic biodiversity, another topic was is mass balance approach at the moment. And so, of course, different members have different topics. And so we're creating for each project an advisory board. And the advisory board is also there to shape the detailed offer. Then there is a special project proposal created. This went to the RCI board, where also budget decisions are taking. And then the project advisory board is guiding the project. So there will be several meetings where we're presenting intermediate results, and input is very welcome. And then finally, there is a report, and the RCI board has a final decision. Yes, the report is fine, it's great, make a press release and publish it. If the board has still some questions, and go back to the project advisory board, and there will be discussed about the latest issues. And so that means in the whole scientific project process, members are involved, and the members are happy to be involved. Normally, a project advisory board has 10 to 20 members. And so you see here again, it's your choice to get more or less active in RCI. But if you want to really use it for your own, for the mission and for your own sake, then of course better involvement is the best way to go. To give you some examples, RCI background reports. For some they're all, you can all download it from the web page. So if you are now interested, oh, what is that? No problem, everything is available under renewable-carbon-initiative.com publications. So we have a case study on peer-reviewed life cycle assessment, second extended version, a very important document, because in Brussels often discussion was, perhaps you are asking yourself how this is possible, but there was an endless discussion, are bio-based products really better under LCA criteria? And then we said to the Commission, okay, we providing a document, peer-reviewed LCAs only, peer review is the highest standard you can have. And then we collected from member companies LCA cases, we have summed up them and put them in one document. And now you have a very, very nice proof, and you see in principle or in average 30–40% less greenhouse gas emissions compared to the fossil counterpart. And this is now in very nice documents which are shared with the Commission. We have meanwhile the European Commission about 100 contacts. If you do something new, we inform this 100 contacts about this publication. And meanwhile, it's widely accepted that bio-based products and also CO2-based and recycled, of course, have a lower footprint. And this was a very important step. Another thing is increased methane emissions in crude oil and natural gas supply. Many of you might know it. EcoInvent has updated the emission data for crude oil, natural gas, and coal. And before, the methane emission was not covered in the data. Now they are in. And if you have done a live LCA 5 years ago, you should update it, because your product would look much better now, because the fossil counterparts have now higher emissions. And this is very, very relevant. And such a report, for example, was useful for all members. I was so happy with that. And I go not to all the different kinds. LCA, there was another huge project on LCA guidelines, comparing PEF standards with TFS and other standards. So if you have some LCA experts in your team, they would be very happy to see this document. And we are also part of the subcommittee for the next revision of LCA standards. So this is also very important, of course. Another question you see always in policymakers, is there enough biomass to defossilize the chemical and derived material sector? And we have here done a huge modeling. It's one of the most detailed reports ever made on this question. Everything is available on the web pages, and the result is that with a monovoltaic agriculture, there is enough to cover about 20–30% of the demand. Then another report was on the demand for transport fuels and aviation and shipping to see the competition to the chemical sector. Then a net zero chemical industry report to compare other scenarios with our scenarios. Yeah, and so on and so on. So I will not go to all the details here. All is available, but that will have a spirit what we're doing. So if you have your company in your strategy, some gaps, some missing pieces, you can address them in that general meeting. And if some other company like it, then we can put the budget. We have around 600–700,000 budget a year, and this is 1/3 is used for the background reports, 1/3 for the position papers. You see also a few here which are recently done, and the other third is used to run the office with all the details and all member issues. If a member want to meet the office on special topics, the door is always open. And so it's a split between these three main activities. Yeah, here are already exactly already quoted these reports here. Only on the right-hand side is a project. It's really important to understand the carbon flows in the world on global level, what's going to food and feed, what's going to energy and fuels, what's going to the chemical sector, how we can defossilize it. This is also a report which was highly recognized on world level, and especially in Europe, but also in South America, China, and US. And we are now updating this report with a lot of new information. And this was the first time ever that the chemical sector was very in detailed investigated, because in the normal statistics, it's not easy to find details about the chemical sector. Upcoming projects in 26. I hope I have also a member slide here. Yeah, I'm happy. Upcoming projects, and here's interesting if you would join tomorrow, because the joining process is very simple. You can do it online, and then we have to check your company whether you are in line with our mission. This works in 95% of the cases. And then you are, after you paid your fee, next day member, and you can still join these projects here. Because one of the biggest projects we're doing now, it's just started, is mass balance and attribution, pros, cons, impact, and favorable methodology. This is a extremely important topic for the industry. And we have a high involvement in project advisory board. We have, I think, 20 members in the advisory board. And the project has started right now, last week. And everybody knows here, chemical suppliers and brands have sometimes, NGOs have different awareness and acceptance of mass balance. And this project should give a deep understanding of mass balance and the impact, and try to find a good compromise between flexibility of the chemical industry on the one hand side, on the other side, that is still accepted by NGOs and is transparent and trustable. And this is that will have a lot of very interesting workshops and discussions this year. So if you're keen on it, you can still join. The next others is developing suggestions for lead markers and quotas. DG Environment is discussing very seriously biomass quota for packaging. It should come in 2028, sorry. And there's still a lot to discuss and decided here. And this has impact on your business, of course. Then developing a biomass risk navigator. This was mainly asked by the brand owners. They want to understand for a certain region, a certain process and application, how we can find the most suitable biomass. This has also started 2 weeks ago. Global development impacts what's happening in China. So a deep look at the Chinese chemical industry to understand the competition better. This has not yet started. Recommendations for renewable carbon in LCAs in recycling situations. Also a big issue. There are so many concepts how to cover recycling in LCA and engagement with SBTI. As I mentioned already, the concept of embedded carbon is not really covered by SBTI or Greenhouse Gas Protocol, and so we are in close contact with them, exchanging a lot of information and concepts here. Yeah, again, if you have any comment or question, I'm very happy to receive it, but so far everyone seems to be happy. Advocacy, also to make it not too detailed here, but there are some examples here. So we are in the Environmental Footprint Technology Advisory Board, FTAP. There's discussion on how the future methodology on LCA will be developed for biogenic carbon CCU recycling. And sometimes companies say, oh, we are so angry, they're doing so wrong decisions in these committees. Yeah, with RCI, you have a place in the committee. We have here, in this case, we have 2 RCI members in the committee, I think Bresco and BASF, and our office. And we have regular meetings in Working Group Sustainability to discuss here our positions. So you can have really influence here on the future of LCA methodology. The same is the Eco-Design Forum, where a lot of things will be decided, like product passport, for example. And here also RCI is part of this important development. Then the Critical Chemical Alliance, which should give a new life to the future chemical industry in Europe. There we are in 2 working groups. 2 of us are one of the 80 experts in Europe in this huge activity here. I have this week 3 meetings, 3 online meetings with this here in working groups 3 and 4. And this is also partly also discussion on quotas and incentives for renewable carbon, biomass recycling. A very important activity. The Commission here wants to have results in not as usually in years, but not in months, but in weeks. So they are really have seen the situation of the chemical industry in Europe very critical. So they want to have here quick action. And industrial carbon management. Here also we are also part of these groups here. So just in short view, we are involved in many more, but to have a feeling how you can be active and influence this high-level policy. How you stay informed, even if you are not so active. We have a monthly newsletter which gives information what happened last month and where you could be involved. We have an internal area with access to mailing addresses. You can contact other members easily and find there a lot of information. And a new format which is very successful in RCI is roundtable discussion. So if you have a certain topic in your company and you want to share it and discuss it with other companies, then you can just ask our office, can you organize a roundtable? We're doing this roundtable. The next roundtable is, I think, in the next week with VD, that outdoor textile producer, and they want to discuss some special issues on circular economy in textiles. And normally 20-30 members join. And when you have the opportunity to discuss technical policy, strategy issues with other company in such a way, so the members love it. And we began this roundtable last year, and now we're doing almost every month a roundtable because the companies are very interested in these discussions. And here you see the members, also very important, of course. Because here the large suppliers, many well-known chemical companies, but also companies from the wood sector, cellulose fiber sector, from the agriculture sector, some from the fuel sector, entering now the chemical sector. There are too many to reach to go to talk about every company here. We have been by about 80 companies. So you saw at the beginning it was 8. Now we are about 80. And even in the economic crisis, of course, some left because they stopped all activities in all associations. But we could also get new companies, so that in total we are staying between 70 and 80. And most companies seeing the benefits and are very happy to stay. In others, there was not their decision. There was a high-level decision to stop all activities in associations. Whether this is clever or not is another question. By the way, large suppliers and brand owners paying per year 12,500. SMEs half of it, and startups even much lower. So we also decided to have relatively moderate fees that prefer to have many companies with moderate fees instead of few companies with high fees. You see SMEs here. You see the brand owners here. I think this is also for many suppliers a unique situation to be able to get in contact with the right people in the brands. You see here very different: IKEA, Lego, Henkel, Procter & Gamble, Michelin, Oriol, Mercedes, On Shoes, Beiersdorf, Henkel, and VD. So I'm very proud about this memberships, very useful for the transition. Then we have the startups, and they have also a different view. So when we're talking about the mass balance project, you could imagine there is a different view for chemical suppliers and the brands, and it's important to align it. And who should align it if it's not RCI? Because there are no other groups with such a mixed membership, and we need to develop solutions. SMEs, big suppliers, and brands can agree on, and this is one of our concepts. You see startups, a lot of startups. They are also in the support submission and to get contact to suppliers and brands. And research institutes, you see only a very few. This is not our main focus. So if someone wants to join, okay, but we're not reaching out to them too much because this is the focus are it's a transition and the demand for information and strategy and impact of suppliers, brands, and SMEs and startups. Yeah, here partners, I also mentioned at the beginning. WWF Germany is, for example, a partner, Texas Exchange. So we have also partners from the sustainable field. Others are more industrial associations, and they are asked for input if in specific topics, or they're also invited to join the project advisory boards. Yeah? So we are happy to have them on board. And if you need more specific information about benefits and main principles, we have some main principles. For example, if you ask me in other workshops, that was the case. If you ask me, what do you prefer, Michael? Bio-based, first generation, second generation, CCU, fossil, biogenic, recycling, mechanical, chemical recycling. I say our principle is we keep them all equal. So we need all the renewable carbon sources to replace fossil. We need first, second generation. We need fossil and biogenic CO2 emissions. We need to utilize them. We need all kind of chemical recycling. So there is no priority. There is no priority. All of them are important, and we need them. And when it comes to a special region, application, and process, then of course you can ask the question: what is the most sustainable feedstock? Which feedstock we should prefer? That is then a very useful question, but on a general level, we keep them equal, and that is one of the very important main principles. And you could remember that I said this biomass risk navigator is under work now, and this is especially this question: if I'm in Greece and I want to create a detergent, and this is a process, what is the best feedstock in Greece for me? This is a question perhaps the biomass risk navigator can answer. It's just starting the project. Perhaps it cannot give a concrete answer for Greece, but it can make a concept, a strategy, how to find the best feedstock. But on general level, we keep them equal. So this is this document and the key policy messages. What does RCI offer to its members? Then the flyer with all the members and the glossary. We have also a glossary also available for non-members. Of course, these documents here, you can go after this presentation to this link, Renewable Carbon Initiative publications, and can find all the background report, the position papers, but also these key documents which show who RCI is. We have also a new document, Structure and Governance, because we are so different from other associations that we need an own document to explain the structure, how our decision taking, and so on. And this is ready now, yesterday, and it will be uploaded as a 6th document here, hopefully next week. Yeah, that was my presentation. And I hope you have some questions to us or some comments. I'm very happy to discuss it. It's up to you. Everything is welcome. Also on the strategy, how we see the future, competition to China. I can also talk about what's going on in the Critical Chemical Alliance. So if you have any issue here, please let me know. I'm happy to discuss.
Maybe I ask a question.
Yeah.
Is there an overview about all these events, for example? So I don't know if I want to participate at the round table right next week about the outdoor textiles, for example. How to do it? Should I write you an email or is there an exchange place? I don't know.
Yeah, this roundtables are only for members.
Mm-hmm.
So if I write me an email, I will answer you, please become member, then you get all the information. And the information comes here with these newsletters. So the monthly newsletter is informing about what happened last month and what comes ahead. So every member gets this information every month. And of course, you can always ask the office. Verena is running the office. And we have a good budget for that. And then you can ask what's coming next, and they will answer you next day about all the details. So it's very easy to get this information. If you are also when the project advisory board meets, is normally only communicated to the members of the project advisory board, because we have so many activities. If you would inform every member on every activities, you get every day an email, and nobody does that.
Yeah, right.
So there are emails for working group policy, working group sustainability, working group, but the roundtable, for example, we always inform all members of the roundtable.
Okay, great.
And we also ask all members, do you have another topic for the next roundtable? So this is very interactive. So we stay all the time in contact with the members.
Okay, thank you. Great. So as far as I know, or not as far as I know, so in between we are also members. So me and 2 of my colleagues. So
I couldn't see your company. You have only shown your name.
Yeah, we have a Fraunhofer Institute.
Okay.
For applied polymer science. We are also a research institution.
Yeah, and you are a member since very few days, right?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, then I understand your question. Yeah, we have a huge database. In the database, we have meanwhile about 200 experts, many representatives, and these extra experts for different working groups. And so if you, for example, want to join one of these project advisory boards, you write it to Verena, she make a click in the database, and then you are a member. So easy it is. And then you get from this day on all information from this working group.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so I'm very happy to see you soon in this different activities. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, are there other comments or questions? Are you all already members here? Because nobody shows the company name. I have not 200 people on my mind. Are some new companies here, or are the others also members, or are you interested to become members? Then perhaps you would have some questions. Now, the online workshop is always, you will decide yourself if I will show up or not. No problem. Okay, if there are anything more, FQNE, and I don't. If you have some more comments, I'm very happy. You are new in the RCI, so perhaps you are not so familiar with all the details. Normally, I don't know whether this was done with you already. Normally, a new member got a 1-hour meeting to discuss all specific issues. Was this already done in your case, or will it happen soon?
No, it will happen soon. My colleague is on holiday now. I think we have an onboarding time slot on June the 15th or something like this.
Okay.
But it's already in plan. So far, we
Yeah,
brainstorm and think about what topic we want to focus on and so on. But it was just for information today for me. So thank you very much. It was a
it's a good way.
good
It's a
overview.
good way. Yeah. And have you already decided in which projects you would like to be involved?
Not so far. I saw the focus, I think, would be on sustainability. So we are working. So our institute is Fraunhofer Institute for Applied Polymer Science, and especially our research department called earlier biopolymers. So we have different process technologies. So I'm a fiber spinner, for example, focused on melt spinning. My colleague is the leader of the group Synthesis. So she also knows a lot about LCA and so on and so on. And I think
the working group sustainability is really a wonderful working group, because we have here some leading chemical companies and the brand owners, and the SBTI discussion are extremely important, because the SBTI was also recognizing, we have completely forgot the embedded carbon. We have for our concept only the process energy. And if you look to the carbon flows and the chemicals, 2/3 of the carbon is embedded and 1/3 is process energy. So the embedded carbon is the main carbon and will be released at end of life, and it has to be covered. And so working group sustainability, I think you will love it. That's a wonderful discussion there. Great. And if you write
I'm looking forward.
And if you write to Verena to get the link, the registration to the next roundtable, please do. Anke was just showing up. Perhaps she knows the date of this roundtable, but you need the registration link, and we send it to you immediately then.
Thank you very much. Great.
Anke, you showed up. Was there anything special to discuss?
I just wanted to check whether everything works fine.
I just wanted to ask. Sorry, I missed the first part of this meeting. Would it be possible to see a recording afterwards?
Yeah, we can also share the presentation, of course. Yeah, and the recording is also possible. I think Verena or Anke will care about. We can to share us with them. We can send all registered participants. We can share the presentation.
That
no
would
problem.
be great, because I also have a colleague that would be interesting.
Do you have any questions so far? We have still a few minutes, 4 minutes. So if you have a specific question, I'm happy to discuss.
Actually, I only listened in 10 minutes, but I think your institute is of interest for me. I work for Mölnlycke Healthcare in Sweden, and we want to look at all possibilities in order to decrease our carbon footprint. So we're more exploring what could be possible to have more information and see what we could use in the future.
Okay, yeah, that's great. That we have a lot of information in RCI, and you can also keep an eye that policymakers make it possible to do it, and they need a lot of information. So when I go in week after next week again to DG Environment, for example, then they have already prepared a list with 20 questions to ask, because they are very interested to get solid information. You could imagine if you work in the Commission, you have every day you meet 10 lobbyists from all sides, yeah, and it's not easy for them to find out what is really true or not. And so they are happy to meet RCI to discuss on a more solid science-based all the different topics. And I'm looking forward to the next meeting because it's really complex. And if you get so much fake information from lobbyists, I would not like to have that job, to be honest. And so it's possible to bring some good information to the Commission.